Hello, you are welcome to Historical Apologia. I remain Solomon Kennedy Jamado. So when I was preparing this video, I wanted to do a particular title talking about the absurd nature of the Christian faith. But I would postpone that to when I'm doing the next year, right, God willing. When I'm doing videos on why I believe in the resurrection and of course the historical crucifixion of the person of Christ. And I will delve much more deeply into that. The core of what I'm going to say can be summarized easily into this: that as the center of the Christianity, it's what is an absurd claim. And the absurd claim is quite a very simple claim, yet it's absurd, that God has an eternal Son, and that Son of God came on earth through the incarnation by being born of the Virgin Mary, right? And after being born of the Virgin Mary, he had a normal human experience. And at the age of 30, he started his public ministry by being introduced into the world through the baptism of John the Baptist, of course. Then at the end of his 3.5 years of ministry, he died historically by crucifixion and was raised from the dead. Right? So at the core of the Christian faith is a God, man dying and resurrecting. Right? God dying and resurrecting. And that is so absurd. Like if you look at the verses in 1 Corinthians, speaking about how the message of the cross is folly to those who are perishing. Again, naturally, if I were to come to you and if you're not a Christian and I tell you that God exists somewhere and that God came on earth as a human being and he died on my behalf, again, removed from Christianity, that is an absurd claim. And that was a claim I was willing to defend. It is a claim I'll be willing to defend when I speak much more comprehensively about the historical crucifixion of Christ. But it is a solemn claim. What I want to do is divert the video a little bit and share something that I found when I was reading the book of Hebrews. In Hebrews chapter 12, again, in the entire book of Hebrews is a fascinating read. I'm sure Hebrews is probably my second favorite book in scripture. I don't know the first favorite, but Hebrews is up there with the second favorite book in scripture. So in chapter 11, right, he spoke about what we call the Hall of Fame, right? The Moses, the Red Sea people, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, etc. In the 12, we speak about, therefore, since you are surrounded by so great a cloud of, I was going to say so crowd, a great, yeah, it's fine. But it's in the verse 18 to 24 that I want to share something. Normally, when we speak about being Christian in a Christian community, our human view of describing it becomes limited. Okay, so if you ask a Christian, the person says, I know I'm a Christian, I believe in a Christian God, I have a community of faith, but then the description in the book of Hebrews is one of the most beautiful you could ever do, or you could ever find. And it starts in the verse 18 to 21, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 18 to 21. It speaks about the old covenant when God was revealing himself to in the Old Testament to the people of God when they wanted to see God, when they pressured Moses to say that we want to see God, and God came to his people in his full glory and power. Okay, we have that occasion there, and he juxtaposed that against our experience as Christians of God. So in the verse 18 to 21, I'm reading again from my Bible, so I'll just raise it up and read. For you have not come to what may be touched, a blazing fire and darkness, a gloom and a tempest, the sound of a trumpet, and a voice whose word made the hearers beg that no further messages be spoken to them. For they could not endure the order that was given. If even a beast touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. Indeed, so terrifying was the sight that Moses said, I trembled with fear. So here he was speaking to when the people of God wanted to approach God, and God gave them a tall list. And one of the instructions in the list is, even if an animal comes close to the mountain of which God is going to come, descend and reveal himself, that animal had to be killed. So the people's full experience with God in the supernatural and God's glory was a hectic one, was a fear-driven one. But in the verse 20-24, it's going to speak wonderfully about our experience as Christians, about our experience about the Christian body, about experience essentially about the entire corpus, entire substance, entire relation of the people of God. So the verse 22, Hebrews 12:22. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to innumerable angels in festal gathering, and to the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirit of the righteous made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. Again, did you catch that? You are going to at least try to go into it a little bit. But then let's start from the verse 22 again. It is soothing to hear, again, just opposing that against the way the Old Testament had the relations of God. He said that for us, but you have come to Mount Zion. Again, Mount Zion is representative of the highest hill in the Old Testament, what God reveals himself or engages with his people. He said that every person who is a believer, again, speaking, of course, the writer of the book of Hebrews is writing to Christians, right? He said that when you become a Christian, you have come to Mount Zion, the peak place where you can interact with God at the highest. That is where you have come to. So you have come to God's highest revealing point and to the city of the living God. So those of us who have given our life to Christ are members. It will reiterate that later when we go on. We are members of God's. So once again, so those of us who have given ourselves to Christ in substance of faith and have also given ourselves to the waters of baptism. When I say this, not to cause trouble, but then for those of us who are Christians, right? He said that first of all, we have come to Mount Zion. And again, we have come to the city of the living God. So it is not just any city. It is the city of the God who is alive and active. He said that to heavenly Jerusalem. So again, we had the Jerusalem, of course, the earthly one. So that for those of us who are Christians, those of us following Christ, those of us who have given ourselves up to follow this person of Christ, we are in Jerusalem. But the Jerusalem that we have been partakers and enrollers of is a Jerusalem in the heavenly places. And that is beautiful. Again, if you know anything about Jerusalem, that is beautiful. But then he moves from the city. The city is Zion, the city of the living God, the city of Jerusalem, and it comes to the indwellers of the cities, the participant of the people of God. Who do we have communion or fellowship with? The verse 22. To innumerable angels in festal gathering. This is the verse that I was reading. I'm like, that is beautiful. We have come to a communal place where we have relations with innumerable angels, and their gathering is festival in nature or festal in nature. No wonder the scripture speaks about the fact that when one soul converts to the Christian faith, then the angels in heaven will be jubilating. They are always in a festal mood. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, I doubt all that the angels do is anticipate who comes into the presence of God and who doesn't. If we are living as a community, to say the least, then angels will be interested in every single point of our life, just as the God of the Bible is interested in every single point of our life. So it means, again, aside from the human souls who are cheering us up, you find them very soon, we also have angels enjoying our life. We have angels spectating our life. We have angels to which we interact with. So even if your eyes are not open to see the angelic, right, to say the least, you can have it on account of faith that there are angels in a city of which you are a legitimate participant of which you are a citizen of. And that is so comforting. So when I was last 3 weeks, right? Probably last 2 weeks, when I went to receive my degree, I have to have this understanding that when my family was clapping for me, my friends were clapping for me, and the entire school was celebrating us. The angels also were celebrating us. I think that brings a certain unique meaning to the Christian faith. It is beautiful in its nature. It goes on to say that, and to the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven. 23. So we have come to the assembly of the firstborn. Again, why does the Bible use the firstborn? If you look at the verse 16, right, you speak about how Esau was immoral and gave up his firstborn sheep for a meal. Again, the firstborn in Jewish rendering had a double percentage of the share, right, because he has higher responsibility. But it speaks, therefore, when you use the firstborn, it speaks to the actuality of we being fellow heirs of Christ. Heirs, fellow heirs of Christ. Because the book of Romans speaks to that substance, that we as Christians enjoy the full benefit of the children of God. We are adopted sons of God, and therefore we are true sons of God. So we are firstborn. We are not going to give us our firstbornship easily as Esau did, but rather we are going to hold on to it with higher degree and respect than Esau ever did in this particular regard. And not only that, he said that after speaking about the angelic participant of this city of community, speaking about the human participant of this city of community, he said that we have also come to God. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the foundation of the entirety of humanity. That our fellowship is not just with angels, it is not just with other living human beings, but rather it is also to God, who is the judge of all. And he has deemed us worthy to enjoy this participation with him. And he's going to send the spirit of the righteous made perfect. So not only do you have angels, angelic beings, not only do you have other living people, not only do we have the God who created the entire universe, but we also have those who have passed on before us. Of course, this implies that those who are of the Abrahamic covenant before the institution of Christ, and even beyond the Abrahamic covenant of which we still are. The two covenant system that God erected in places in the people of God who have been saved from eternity past till now, so that we have come to these people and to the spirit of the righteous made perfect. God has perfected them in their death. In their death. Okay, so we have an enjoying relationship with living people, with angelic beings, with God himself, and also with the dead. The community of faith of the Christians extend beyond the reach of the seeable. In the concluding verse 24, he said that, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant. Ladies and gentlemen, how can you not love God? He said that we have come to all of these things, but the concluding that we have also come to Jesus, the one who mediates between us and God, a new covenant. And that is why someone like me, a Gentile outside the commonwealth of Israel, can be holding up scripture and speaking in this manner, joyfully understanding within my mind and receiving on account of faith that I have been engrafted into the people of God. And of course, you see that to the sprinkled blood that speaks better words than the blood of Abel. When Abel was killed, the Bible speaks in the account of Genesis that his blood called out to God, and God speaking to Cain mentioned that. And it is a call out to God for a justification that Cain has killed him. Therefore, God should exact the righteous judgment by the blood of Christ. Even when he was on Calvary's cross, he said that, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that is how the blood, instead of speaking justice, it speaks God merciful mercy upon our lives. And this is the entire purpose of what I want to share today. It is something beautiful. In this year, Jidifua, Tresem say about Eradicro man Zion, Jerusalem, I was Efe. Like, think about it. And we have come not only to that year, above war, right? You have communion with them, and they are cheering us on, they are praising us, they are singing out, they are enjoying God the first, and we have come to God himself, the one who judges on account of his judgment has made us right. Yaba erade nkyɛn so. Na erade nkyɛn ne aba ɔsi yaba awonhom a ɔmo yɛ ahoteefo a yama ɔmo ho ate. Kristo di na ma ɔmo di kan kɔ yɛ na ɔmo wu kɔ no. Yɛne ɔmo wa yɔnkofa. We have a relationship with the people who preceded us in death. And of course, we have come to Jesus, the love of our life. And we have come to his blood, which when sprinkled upon us, make us holy, pure. That is the consistent message of the book of Hebrews. And this is what I want to share with you. If you find it a blessing, share it, encourage people, understand that the Christian faith is much more beautiful than we could ever represent it. God, angels, the living, the dead, the firstborns, and of course Christ and his blood speaking on our account, purifying us day and night without rest. God bless you. And this was Historical Apologia. I remain Solomon Kennedy Jam. See you in next week and next week's video about the festive season, about Christmas. It will be fine. It will be fire. God bless you.